All right, well, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening to learn more about the Certificate of Advanced Accounting Proficiency program here at Santa Clara University. CAAP program has been at Santa Clara University since 2000 and continues to help students launch their careers into the accounting profession. We're so glad that you've joined us this evening and to learn about the CAAP program and how it can change your life. So on the webinar tonight, you'll hear about the curriculum that's included in the program. You'll also learn about the recruiting process and how we help prepare you for the recruiting events that are part of your participation in the CAAP program. And we'll also share with you a little bit about the path to CPA licensure. So my name is Tony Santillan. I'm the program director for the CAAP program. And on the webinar with me this evening is Michael Caligari. Mike's one of Santa Clara University's accounting professors. He's been teaching in the CAAP program since 2002. He teaches the very first program, the Intro to Financial Accounting. So he's seen most of the faces that have come through the CAAP program since it started. So thanks for joining me tonight, Mike.
You're welcome. Hi, everyone.
All right. So thank you also to our audience who's sharing their time with us. We did have to reschedule from last week. So thank you to those that were able to weather the storm with us, if you will. Our power went out actually last week during our regularly scheduled time. So thanks for postponing and coming back with us this week. So our goals tonight are to provide you not only with information about the program, but also why now is the time to move into the accounting profession. So there's a chat feature at the bottom of the bar of the screen that you're seeing. So we're going to cover a lot of information tonight. If there's a question that you have about something that we haven't addressed, please be sure to use that chat feature and we'll try and answer all the questions that we get tonight. So on the call with us also tonight, we're fortunate to have Erica Dessenberger. She is a CAAP alumni. She went through the program 2015-16 weekend program. She's now employed with Moss Adams. Hi, Erica.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us this evening. Erica, if you would, maybe take a minute just to share with us a little bit about your educational and professional background coming into the CAAP program and then where you are now in the CPA process.
Yeah, so I was actually an English major in college. I went to UC Davis, majored in English, got my bachelor's, and when I got out of college, I went and started working in marketing. And then I figured out that marketing wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. So I kind of started looking around, got a job in accounts payable, and decided that I really wanted to learn more about accounting. But I thought my only options were to get a 4-year degree until my boss referred me to the CAAP program and told me that I would be able to get all of the units I needed for the CPA exam, which I did, and I passed the test last September.
Congratulations. That's super exciting. Fantastic. All right, so the CAAP program is designed for individuals with a non-accounting undergraduate degree. So for this reason, students may find themselves sitting next to someone with a degree in poli-sci, econ, finance, education, and many others. And then we also will find that there are individuals in our program from a variety of professional backgrounds, a lot of engineers, educators, we've had law enforcement officers, linguists, musicians, and many more. So who joins the CAAP program exactly? Mike's going to tell us a little bit more about the people that find their way to the CAAP program.
Sure, thanks, Tony. So to join CAAP, of course, you have to have graduated from an accredited 4-year university, but you don't have to have an accounting degree. In fact, you don't have an accounting degree. People enroll in CAAP to get the accounting units to become a CPA. Now, some people have some experience in accounting at their work, some don't. Some people have previously taken 1 or more accounting courses, some haven't. Some new CAAP students are recent graduates or they will be graduating in May or June this year. They want to begin their professional career at a CPA firm, but they don't have enough units yet, so they join CAAP. A second group, like Erica, began their professional careers in non-accounting areas. But for whatever reason, now they find themselves working in an accounting function at their companies. But they don't have any formal training in accounting. So these students join CAAP to either advance their career at their current firm or to get a better position somewhere else. And then there's a third group who've been working in non-accounting careers, but they're not satisfied with how that career is developing. And so they join CAAP to move into a different, career. And of course, there's other types. You may not fall into one of these 3 categories, But these are the main types of students who join CAAP.
Perfect. Thanks for explaining that to us, Mike. I think our students explain it the best, actually. We're going to show you a video here that was filmed at a celebration this past September and includes our summer students who had just completed the program. And it's got some student testimonials in there that I think capture the essential components of the program and really give a great representation of what CAAP can do for students that are truly committed to the program. So here we go.
When I started off with this program, I always thought, will I be able to do it? Will not? I have never studied in US, so this was my first education experience in US.
I'm making a career transition from educational consulting. Definitely required an adjustment period. So I strongly recommend that anyone who's thinking of starting the CAAP program to be fully committed to it.
The course content is squeezed from a bachelor's program into 3 months. So there's a lot of content in there.
So Monday through Friday, we have classes from 9 to 1, probably studied about 5 to 6 hours a day outside of that. So it's a lot of study. The weekends studied as well. So it really was kind of like a full-time job.
When I started the CAAP program, I had to prepare to leave my job. I took out a little bit of loans and then left my hometown to move to Santa Clara and live on campus.
I made a lot of sacrifices. I think everyone here did. You're devoting all your time to this program. You're devoting all your time to these people.
This class was like my second family. All of us were so close. I think without the class, I would have not been able to do such an intense program.
We were on campus almost every day of the week, including the weekends.
You're spending a lot of time with these people, so you get really close.
It is a sacrifice. And it's one that's very worth doing because at the end of it, you're going to have a job and you're going to be so thankful and happy with the friends that you've made in this program.
When you look at the big picture and see where it's going to lead you in your future, CAAP program definitely does change people's lives.
It's been 14 weeks of really hard work, but it all paid off, and I'm really thankful for that.
Oh, well, that was fun, Tony. It's nice to see the students again.
I'm in love with that video. It's a great group of students that we had with us this summer. You could see that all the students that were featured there had all been recruited from the program and were planning to start their careers at one of the accounting firms. And it was a great celebration of all the hard work they had put in over the summer. So that was fun. So you can see on our new slide, accountants are in demand. And the fact of the matter is that the accounting industry truly is in need of qualified accountants, and you can be in demand. So, the Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that the employment of accountants and auditors is projected to grow faster than the average for all occupations. So now is the time to get those accounting units and begin your career in the accounting profession. Why don't we take a minute and Erica, why don't you share with us a little bit about your experience, maybe with the hiring needs at your firm? What do you see happening with the needs at your firm?
Yeah, so right now I would say that public accounting is definitely hiring. I think most firms are looking for the right kind of people who I think the CAAP students generally are. They have lots of varied life experiences and they bring real world, work experience to roles. And so I think the CAAP program just kind of gives you the accounting knowledge and the push you need to be a really good applicant for public accounting.
Perfect, thank you. So some success stories of some of our CAAP alumni are featured here. You can launch your career into the profession where you may be recruited for a tax position or a position in audit. You can grow within the public accounting firm or the organization into a number of roles such as controller, VP finance, CFO, some of the others here, financial analyst, or you can, continue on your journey with one of the firms and become a partner. So lots of direction to go with your accounting knowledge. So some of the Santa Clara University Advantage, we love to highlight the fact that Santa Clara was recently ranked #1 for best regional universities in the West, according to the 2019 U.S. News and World Report. We're very excited about that. The Leavey School of Business is home to Lucas Hall, That's where I'm currently sitting, and that's where our students spend the majority of their time while they're here on campus. Some of the advantages of the CAAP program specifically. The CAAP program is distinguished from other programs by a number of features. The most distinctive feature is the accelerated format that allows students to meet all the accounting course requirements for the CPA exam in either a 14-week summer format or a 9-month weekend program format. Another distinguishing feature is our tuition. So the tuition for the CAAP program is about 1/3 of the price of attending a master's program at a UC or a private university. Another distinguishing feature about our program is the cohort-based nature of our program. So that means that students go through the program one class at a time with the same group of students. Provides that opportunity for our students to create a network of other individuals and to have study groups and really be that support for each other as they're matriculating through the program. The CAAP courses are offered, as you can see on our slide, in a sequential course. So it provides the students the opportunity to focus all of their time and energy and effort to one class at a time instead of taking many classes at one time. So we're going to show you the list of courses in a future slide, but as long as you understand that the opportunity is there to take one class at a time and focus on that class. Free unlimited tutoring support is by all means one of the best things in helping our students move through the program. When students complete the program and they are then preparing to sit for the CPA exam, we bring them back and they serve as tutors for our current and existing student population. They're studying for the CPA exam, and by taking the time to work with the current students and teach them, they're not only helping our current students, they're double dipping and helping prepare for the CPA exam. So it's a great feature. They're available. We host drop-in tutoring here on campus. As students are coming out of class, you can work with them remotely, email, Skype, whatever works on campus, off campus. They're available as much or as little as is needed for your help in moving through the program. Another distinguishing feature are the opportunity to participate in multiple recruiting opportunities. Mike's going to speak more about the accounting industry and the recruiting opportunities a little bit later in the slide. But right now, Mike, would you speak about the faculty for us?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Unlike some other programs that hire part-time professionals to teach their courses, the instructors who teach our CAAP classes are full-time professors who at their universities specialize in teaching that course. The material we cover in CAAP is the same that we cover in our undergraduate program. The CAAP courses are covered with the same rigor, and our CAAP students are held to the same standards as our undergrads. And for this reason, our CAAP program has an excellent reputation within the accounting profession, and the CPA firms actively recruit our students.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike. So as I mentioned, the program is offered via 2 formats. So we have our summer program, which is designed for students who have the ability to devote their full time to the program over a 14-week summer format. So it's not recommended for individuals who'll be working at the same time. It's very challenging to try and work and do the summer program at the same time. Students are in class Monday through Friday, either 9 through 1 for the AM cohort or in the afternoon from 2:30 to 6:30. The program runs from from June through September, and at the end of that time, students will have completed 45 quarter units. Each class is 8 or 9 consecutive days, and then the next class begins. And then we have our weekend format, which is designed for the working professional, and it's an opportunity for students to attend class on a weekend. So the format requires that students attend class either Saturday or Sunday from 9 till 6, and each class lasts 5 weeks. So for 5 Saturdays or 5 Sundays, you're in the same class, and then you move on to the next class in the sequence. And this format runs September through June. And Erica, you were a weekend student while you were in the program. Why don't you share a little bit about your time in the program, maybe a snapshot of a day in the life of a weekend CAAP student?
Yeah, so I worked full-time while I was doing the CAAP program, but I did get Fridays off. So I was a Saturday cohort person, and I would study all day Friday, get up at 8 a.m. on Saturday, and go to class for 8 hours plus a lunch break. And so you would get in, you would do the first 4 hours, which would be like one class day, and then you would have lunch, and then you would come back and do another 4 hours, which was like another class day. So it was really important to attend every class and not miss, because we covered basically 2 or 3 weeks worth of material every class. So it was really rigorous and a little daunting, but we got through it okay.
Yeah, we hear that from alumni, that if you miss one class and fall behind, there's just no catching up. So we work with students as needed. Sometimes life happens, and at some point along the program, you know, there's an event that occurs that does require you to push pause, and always happy to work with students as needed to help them roll to a future program should that be the case for them, and they need to take a break from the program. So I wanted to mention that. So Erica.
Tony, also many of the courses are taped. So if a student can't come to class that particular day, right, they can watch a video of the class. So, you know, it's always best to attend class. It's always a lot easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Mike. And Erica, Mike, if I fail to share something that is valuable, please do pitch in. This is our webinar, so help me along here, would you?
Okay.
Right. So bells and whistles. So the CAAP program really is a comprehensive program. It's so much more than just the curriculum. We talked about some of the features that distinguish it from other programs, and one of the big ones is the professional development workshops that we offer. You know, we help students prepare professionally by offering these workshops during the class time breaks, so there's no need to come back. So Erica, you mentioned that you were in class for 4 hours and then you had a lunch break and you came back for 4 hours. So when we offer these workshops, we offer it during that lunch break so that students don't have to come back to campus another time to take advantage of all the offerings that are provided through the CAAP program. So some of the professional development workshops are, for example, the resume preparation and one-on-one resume review. We have a fantastic career counselor that used to work in the Career Center here at Santa Clara. He comes back and presents to our students to help them refine their resumes and get them accounting profession ready. You know, as I mentioned, we have students that come to us from a variety of backgrounds. So you may have a resume that's tailored to your current profession, and he helps you get it tuned to accounting. So you might be an engineer that is transitioning to accounting, and he helps your resume be an accountant that used to be an engineer, not an engineer that wants to be an accountant. And that's so important. So he works with you one-on-one as well as giving a classroom presentation. And then he comes back and helps understand how to network. So in addition to helping you understand how to improve your LinkedIn presence, which of course is so important in these times, he also helps you understand how to present yourself at the recruiting events, how to shake hands and have that 30-second elevator pitch, if you will, ready to share with the recruiting firms. This is who I am, this is what I have to offer, and this is my plan moving forward. So he helps you get that together. And then finally, he comes back and helps you understand how to prepare for the interviews that will come after attendance at these events. So how to prepare for the interview, the do's and don'ts, and all the tips and tricks that come along with improving your interviewing performance. So he's wonderful, and he does a lot of that. Other opportunities that we provide for you to sit in during your lunch break, or for the summer program, it would be in between the AM and PM cohort. So again, you don't have to come back. It's when you're already here on campus. We have some firm presentations. So a lot of students have no familiarity with the accounting industry, may not know who the Big Four are or what it means about tax or audit. And so we have opportunities where we'll have firms come in and give presentations, maybe a day in the life of, you know, an auditor at Deloitte or a tax associate at, you know, KPMG, just to give more information and a better understanding of the accounting industry as a whole. And it's a great opportunity for students to ask questions and, you know, better understand what their next steps might look like. And then we have a couple of exam prep providers come in and share a little bit about the exam prep process and how to move along to eventual licensure. It's a fairly complex process with many steps along the way. Erica, why don't you share a little bit about your journey to CPA licensure, since you recently passed all your tests?
Oh, yeah. So since I was an English major, I didn't really have any of the accounting or business units that you need to sit for the exam. And so kind of coming to the CAAP program, going to the orientation and kind of getting more information about how it works to apply for the CPA exam, what units I needed was super helpful. The resume prep I thought was super valuable if we're talking about development workshops, especially because I was, working in marketing, liberal arts degree. It was really good to kind of get some professional advice about how to format my resume in a way that would catch the eye of accounting firms. So I thought that was super helpful.
Fantastic. All right. So the accounting industry. So we've talked about the different pieces of the program, the curriculum, the recruiting. We're going to dive into the recruiting just a bit here, and Mike's going to share with us a little bit more about the recruiting piece of the program.
Okay. Now, accountants work in many areas and lots of companies. Just a couple of hours ago, I was talking with a recruiter from the city and county of San Francisco. They hire about 25 new entry-level accountants each year. The recruiter told me that they like to hire our CAAP students because they've been successful at doing their work and at getting promoted and advancing through the ranks. So he's interested in coming by and seeing actually CAAP students. He was asking if he could appear at one of the sessions on a weekend or during the in-between classes in the summer.
Fantastic.
Yeah, though some of our programs work for CCSF and other municipalities and other firms, I think it's fair to say, though, that most of our graduates begin their careers at CPA firms. These firms provide accounting and audit, tax, advisory services to their clients. By working at a CPA firm, you get to learn about the best practices of accounting and tax for a variety of companies. And then as you gain experience, you're continually presented with more intricate and challenging transactions to analyze. And the best thing about these firms is that every year they must hire new entry-level assurance associates and tax associates. So you don't need business experience to begin working at these firms. Plus, the experience you get at these firms is highly valued at other companies. And after working at these CPA firms for a couple of years, you can, if you want, begin searching for positions at the company of your choice. But they're highly selective. These CPA firms are highly selective about who they hire and where they hire from. For example, the Big Four firms only hire candidates who've met the CPA licensure requirements and are judged to have the technical skills based on grades in accounting courses to pass the exam, and also have the professional skills and attitude to interact with clients. For this reason, in Silicon Valley, the CPA firms focus their recruiting attention on just a handful of universities. They rarely hire individuals who complete their accounting courses at extension, community college, online programs, because these programs don't have a track record of consistently producing the candidates that they want. Now, Santa Clara University, though, has been considered a target university by all the major accounting firms. And the CAAP program has also developed the reputation for producing high-quality CPA candidates. That's why CPA firms actively recruit our CAAP students to work at their firms. But there's a lot of different types of CPA firms. As this slide shows, the largest of these are known as the Big Four. Now, these are huge multinational firms that audit maybe about 90% or more of public companies and the bulk of IPOs in the US. The Big Four firms pride themselves for offering excellent training programs, and they have brand name prestige, and they hire a lot of people every year, but their employees often experience a challenging work-life balance due to long hours. The work-life balance is generally more favorable at other CPA firms. The size of these other firms range from multinational and national firms like BDO and RSM, regional firms like Moss Adams, where Erica works, Armanino, BPM, Novogradac, or local firms with just a few offices. Unlike the larger firms that serve all types of clients, some of these firms tend to specialize in certain areas like tax or in certain industries like real estate. Surprisingly, though, the pay is about the same among all CPA firms of any size. Now, as far as hiring goes, the CPA firms generally want their newly hired entry-level accountants to begin work in either January or September. Most of the firms want their people to begin in September. They typically hire new entry-level accountants through internships and by interviewing senior accounting majors in the fall quarter of their senior year. That is, they try to hire entry-level accountants about a year in advance of when they're scheduled to begin. Firms that do not meet all their hiring needs during the fall quarter of the recruiting season will generally continue to search for the qualified candidates between January and August of the following year to meet their September hiring goals. Now, since CPA firms do the bulk of their hiring in the fall, what we do is we organize a fall career fair for our students at the end of September. And this is for both CAAP and undergraduate students. And about 30 or more 35 firms attend this event. And a lot of students get hired through this career fair. For those summer grads and weekend students who don't have jobs by the end of December, we send a PDF file of CAAP resumes to CPA firms in February. The idea being that firms that did not meet their hiring goals through the fall hiring season are now ready to revisit the job market at that time. And many of our weekend students who started the CAAP program in September find positions through this process, as do some additional summer students who just graduated. We also organize a CAAP career fair in the summer for the newly enrolled summer students and the weekend students who graduated in June. This career fair is about half the size of the fall career fair. There's about 10 to 15 firms, including all the big four that attend this event. For most of these firms, the summer career fair is a chance for them to meet the new summer CAAP students and vice versa. And though most firms wait until the fall to begin their recruiting for the next year, some firms that have not yet met their hiring needs will hire CAAP students through this fair. So for example, last summer, or the summer that just happened in 2018, KPMG, which is one of the big four, hired at least 10 of our students through the summer career fair to begin work in September.
Those were the smiling faces you saw in the video.
Yeah, that's right, some of those guys. So Erica, what was your experience at these career fairs?
So I did not attend the fall career fair, but I did attend the CAAP specific one in the summer after I finished the program. And I thought it was
So you finished in June.
Yes, I finished.
And then you started the CAAP career, then you went to the summer career fair a couple of months later.
Yes.
Okay.
And I submitted my resume to the book earlier in the year and went to the summer Meet the Firms event. And it was packed with all kinds of firms, not just big four. There were regional firms. Moss Adams was there. There was a firm from Monterey. So I thought it was a really good opportunity to kind of see that public accounting isn't just the big four, that there were a lot of opportunities out there, and a lot of firms made the trek to come to Santa Clara for that event. But it's definitely a crowded event and very busy, and you kind of get tired talking to so many people at once, but you just have to push through and stay hydrated.
That's right. We definitely offer plenty of water because it can get warm in that room.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for sharing that with us, Erica. And thank you, Mike. The Summer Career Fair 2019 will be July 24th. Mark your calendars. All right. So CAAP curriculum comes down to these 8 classes, right? So these courses cover material that's included in the CPA exam and constitute the entire set of upper division accounting courses that students are required to take in our undergraduate accounting program, right? Erica mentioned that missing one class was a substantial portion of instruction. Our CAAP students receive the same amount of material, but in a much shorter time frame. So what that means is that our weekend students, like Erica, receive about 3.5 weeks worth of instruction each class period. So you can see how missing one day would be missing a big chunk of instruction. Our summer students receive about 1.5 weeks worth of instruction per class. So we tell our students, take care of all your dentist appointments and your travels and get date nights out of the way, because once you commit to the CAAP program, you won't have much time for anything else. You got to stay focused. So Erica, maybe you could share a bit about your class experience, the rigor of the program. Falling behind, it's not an option.
Yeah. So I really loved Professor Caligari's class because it was a really nice, not easy, but smooth transition into the program. And you know, it was kind of different from what I was used to, but I thought it was really valuable to take the Intro to Financial Accounting class because it kind of gets you into the mindset of how you're going to study and move on in the program. And I think really the key to kind of getting through and not, you know, losing hope in the winter time when it's cold and you're taking tax, to like get into a groove of studying and taking tests and coming back and starting a new class all over again. So
how much studying did you do? Could you?
So I probably studied about 10 hours every Friday, and then probably 5 or 6 every Sunday, and then the rest of the week I honestly didn't really study. But I know people who studied at least 3 to 4 hours every night too. It just kind of depends on your lifestyle.
Right. And for our summer students, since they're here daily in class for 4 hours Monday through Friday, they typically will, if they're in the morning session, they'll typically stay after and meet in study groups and have tutors join them when they come out of the morning session. And then our afternoon session, students will come early to meet with study groups and tutors before they go into class. And then, you know, they'll finish, they'll go grab a bite, maybe hit the gym, and then right back at it. We find them around here, Lucas Hall, you know, in their little study groups, all times of the day and night, daily, weekends, they're here. And interestingly, we find some of our students that created study groups will come back and meet weekly in preparation for the CPA exam, just as if they had never stopped CAAP. They got into their study groove and met every week, and they continue to come back to prepare together for the CPA exam. So that's really nice. So Mike, Santa Clara doesn't offer a master's program in accounting because of course we offer the CAAP program instead. What's the difference between courses a student would take in CAAP and the courses a student would take in a master's program?
Actually, there's not much difference. The courses that you take in a master's program in accounting are the same courses you would take in an undergraduate program in accounting, except there might be a few additional electives, but they're taught either in master's or undergrad or in our CAAP certificate program. They're all taught with the same rigor, and we cover the same material. So there's not much difference.
All right, super. So as I promised early on, we're going to talk now about the path to CPA licensure. And here it is at a glance, a quick snapshot of what the requirements are. So the requirements to sit for the CPA exam includes, of course, completion of an undergraduate degree, which is the criteria for acceptance to the CAAP program. And then 24 semester, which translates into 36 quarter units of accounting. And as I mentioned, those will all be satisfied through successful completion of the CAAP program. And then you need an additional 24 semester or 36 semester units of business courses. So as Erica had mentioned, she was an English major. So, you know, maybe didn't have all the units necessary to satisfy the business component. So we find that some of our students, if they have time between when they're accepted and when the CAAP program starts, they might knock out a couple online courses to try and satisfy some of those business units. Otherwise, it falls to those individuals to satisfy those additional business units after completion of the CAAP program in preparation to satisfy all the units to sit for the exam.
Yeah,
So,
the last thing you want to do right after finishing the CAAP program is take a bunch more online classes. So get them out of the way early.
that's right. Perfect. So I think every accountant's story is a little different with respect to how they satisfy the requirements. So the additional requirements are listed here for licensure. Mike, maybe you want to tackle the licensure.
Right. So in addition to passing the exam, you have to meet some additional requirements to get licensed as a CPA. That is, to call yourself a CPA. So first you must meet what they call the 150-hour rule. That's you have 150 college semester units, of which 30 must be in accounting. And you'll meet these requirements by the time you complete the CAAP program. To get licensed in California as a CPA, you must also complete a total of 38 semester units of business, math, statistics, or econ courses, plus 10 semester units of ethics. Now, some of you may have already completed these in your undergraduate program or somewhere else. But if you haven't, then we'll counsel you on how to meet these after completing CAAP. And third, you must then work at least 1 year before doing accounting or tax-related work under the supervision of a qualified CPA. Now, once you've done all this, then you'll have the designation of CPA. Now, a couple of more things though. First, you don't have to pass the CPA exam before starting at a firm, although many firms will offer bonuses to you if you pass all parts of the CPA exam before starting, or if you pass all 4 parts of the exam within 1 or 2 years. And I think Erica has received a bonus when she passed the exam early for Moss Adams. Now, some of the firms, including all the big 4, require new employees to meet all the educational requirements for licensure beginning work. But this is only for full-time positions. Some CPA firms, so for example, the big 4 will hire CAAP students or CAAP alums as interns before they meet the educational requirements for CPA licensure. And some other CPA firms will hire you to start before you've met all the CPA licensure requirements. So it kind of varies.
Super. Thank you, Mike. So we just have a few slides left. So I want to remind our viewers, if you have a question that we haven't addressed, that there is that chat feature that's there in the bottom bar of your screen. If you tap on the chat feature and turn that on. If you have any questions about anything that we haven't addressed yet, send us your questions. We have just a few slides here that we're going to wrap up. So why CAAP? Why now? So you've heard tonight that CAAP truly can change your life. Erica is a testament to that. Accountants are in demand. We've talked about the need, how we have a number of firms that heavily recruit from our program. Erica has been one of our success stories. So thank you for joining us tonight, Erica, to share your story. The professional development workshops and the recruiting opportunities provide you with the necessary tools to begin your career in the accounting profession. And we already answered that question. So the application for both the summer and weekend 2019 programs are both open now. You can apply online. If you go to our website, which is scu.edu/business/CAAP, you'll be directed to the application. You can submit your application online. We accept students on a rolling basis, which means once the program's full, it's full. We cap each cohort. So for summer, that means the AM and the PM. And for weekend, that means the Saturday and Sunday. We cap each cohort at 50 students. And it's the first 50 that are accepted. And we'll then have a wait list. So there will be students that will be accepted early in the process that will, for one reason or another, choose not to participate, and we're then able to fill those spots from our wait list. But the sooner you submit, the sooner you can get your application in and be accepted to the cohort of your preference, right? So submitting early is the key. Make sure you have a copy of your undergraduate transcript on hand. You'll want to be able to upload that into your application, and your application will be pending until all the necessary documentation is submitted there. So application fee is $75. The total cost for the CAAP program is $14,850. So for all you future accountants, that's 45 quarter units, $330 per quarter, right? That covers all 8 classes, all 45 quarter units. And if you were paying attention back there, I told you you needed how many units to satisfy the accounting units to sit for the CPA. You'll actually wind up with more than what you need, and you can then actually use those additional accounting units to satisfy some of the business unit requirements, which will decrease the number of business units that you need. So a nice little trick there for you. Textbooks, of course, are an additional cost. And financial assistance is available to those who qualify. So if you're looking to explore your options for loans, you'll want to submit your FAFSA at the same time that you submit your application. That way our financial aid office can have your data all put together and put a package together for you. So we did have a question come through here. Someone was asking if they're a current senior and they're going to be graduating, this coming semester or quarter. Would they qualify to apply? So for those students, absolutely. A large population of the students that come through the program are those that are just finishing up and looking to do the summer program after completing their undergraduate degree, and we welcome you to submit your application. For you, you would just want to supply your list of classes. You can't obviously document conferral of your degree at this time, but you'll submit your transcript, which documents all your coursework, your cumulative GPA, and of course your program of study, so we can see that you're on your way. And then should you be offered admission, it would be contingent upon you providing that final official transcript once it's available, made available to you after you graduate. So that's absolutely acceptable.
Yeah, I think the idea here is you graduate before you start the program, but you don't have to graduate before you apply.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for clarifying that. So, hey, look, we have some more questions here. So Anthony wants to know, when I said June to September, did I have more specific start dates? Absolutely. So I don't have the calendar in front of me. I think the summer program is going to start June 17th on a Monday, whatever that Monday is. It's going to start June 17th. And it will carry on. The schedules are available on our website, Anthony, and I'm happy to share that with you via email as well. What else we got here? After you take ethics class, Jiasun wants to know, do you have to take an additional ethics exam for CPA licensure? Yeah. Mike, you want to talk about the ethics piece? That's sort of a new requirement. Ethics classes aren't satisfied by the CAAP program, right? Right. Now, working at putting that together, hopefully to launch this fall. But Mike, if you want to talk about the ethics requirement for licensure.
Yeah, so that comes later. So, you pass the CPA exam, and then to become a CPA, you must also pass an ethics exam. And this ethics exam is an open book exam. So it's not the same thing. The state of California sends you the material that is going to be covered on the exam. You review the material and then you take it. Erica, what was your experience with the ethics exam?
It was, I guess, after taking the CPA exam and, having to go into the Prometric Center and they make you empty out your pockets and, show you don't have any notes hidden up your sleeves. It was a little bit anticlimactic, but yeah. I took it seriously and I studied at least, a moderate amount before I took it, just because I didn't want to have to retake it. So you can retake it 3 times, then you have to reapply. But it's better just to pass on the first one, I think. So yeah, not that bad, but still you should give it your all.
Yeah, it's not nearly as difficult as the CPA exam. In fact, I don't consider it that difficult, but you still do need to study for it because you don't want to take it more than once.
Yeah, well, you have to get a 90% to pass, which is hard. When there's 50 questions, it's like if you miss 3, I think, then you don't pass. I don't know, but yes, it's a lot more stringent. So,
but as I remember, a lot of times the question almost repeats itself exactly what's in the material that they give you.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's really, well, it's not nearly as hard as a CPA exam. Let's put it that way.
Is anything though? The bar, maybe.
And you mentioned Prometrics, so that's something that the exam prep providers, when they come and give their presentation, they really walk you through what it's like to go sit for the CPA exam, and really, as you indicated, that they make you empty everything from your pockets. You have to put everything in a locker. It's very strict, and so our providers that come out give a really comprehensive presentation of what that whole experience is like, which can be a bit frightening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, a couple more questions. Let's see. Brian wants to know if the rigor of the summer program is too much, are we allowed to switch over to the weekend program? So the answer is yes, space providing. However, it's going to be no less rigorous. As we mentioned, it is the same content, same courses, same professors for the most part, same material, just in a weekend format versus the summer format. But we do find that sometimes the summer students that are being a bit challenged choose to roll over to the weekend program and do find success. So always happy to work with students as space is available to switch program formats, definitely.
I think he's not so much talking about rigor as the pace. So I think the pace, it's a fast pace, summer and weekend, but I guess there's more time to study between classes in the weekend program if you're not working. But I think most people who take the weekend program probably have full-time jobs. So they try, so having a full-time job and studying is, just as challenging, can be just as challenging as the other. But, we've had, a couple of thousand people complete our program over the years and, have done quite well. So, even though it's, difficult to do, a lot of people do it. And so we don't think it's too difficult for people to complete.
All right. Well said. Couple more questions. Oh, you're welcome. Brian says, thank you.
Okay.
Ain't technology grand. What else we got here? Let's see. Jasoon says, speaking about textbooks, are they the same as previous years? Can we buy used books from the previous CAAP students? After completing the program, do most students work for a year to get that work experience, and then they're able to get their CPA license? So a couple different questions. So textbooks first. Typically, the same textbooks are used. Mike, I think unless a new version of a textbook has come out. And then
yeah, for I think the tax book almost every year is new because every year they update the tax books for new, not just tax laws, but for changes in the different deduction limits and all that kind of stuff. Right. But the other books change maybe once every 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. And certainly you could buy them used. Some of our students buy the international versions. And what you do is you should ask the professor. So I think Tony provides the students with a list of all the required textbooks before the program begins. And then if you have a question about buying a used book, or let's say an international version, you can contact the professor and ask them and for clarification if you're concerned. And the reason I mention the international is oftentimes I think they're paperback and you can often buy them for less. Some of our students rent the books, and so that's also an option too. And some have, I think, online copies. They just get an online version.
That's right.
Did I answer the question?
I think you did. I think you did. And then Jason also wants to know, after completing the program, do most students work for a year to get that work experience, and then they're able to get their CPA license?
Well, first of all, you have to find a job. So those students who do get jobs, I think most of them try to get that CPA, to work at least a year, probably more at a CPA firm. Like Erica, I think it's been there more than a year by now.
Yeah, like a year and 3 months.
Yeah, and many of our students work for several years. In fact, I think we have some partners, former students who worked all the way through partner, which is, right. 12, 15 years maybe. But, after a year or more, then you could, once you've met that qualification, then you could pretty much work, anywhere you want. I think the way that they recommend is that if you work the longer you work at a CPA firm before you switch, then the higher your next position will be, and the greater your trajectory will be in the future. That the earlier you leave, you just won't, well, you just don't have the experience otherwise. But that being said, most people leave within, I think, like 2 years, 2-3 years, and switch jobs.
So Erica, you've already satisfied the requirements for licensure?
Yes, I have. I haven't applied yet.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, for audit, there's also certain requirements in addition to the working for a year. Certain, like, you know, activities you have to complete while working for a CPA firm or under a CPA that I'm still working on. So it's in process.
Understood. All right.
Well, I'd like to mention something about that too. This is kind of technical, but there's actually 2 types of CPA certificates. Although most people don't care about it unless you're really working at the CPA firm. And what Erica's talking about is you can get a CPA, you know, working under the supervision of a CPA, but there's a certain additional higher class of CPA certificate that allows you then to sign off on audits. And this becomes important if you decide to continue working at a CPA firm and working into the manager or partner position. Otherwise, if you leave within a couple of years, I don't think most firms, most of your other subsequent jobs would really care whether you have an assurance designation or not, or a test. It's called the attest designation, whether you have that or not.
Okay, super.
And probably a little more information you needed.
Yeah, all information is helpful. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
All right, Jose wants to know, how do students get notified if they get accepted? Is it email or mail? So our application is open. I will tell you, however, though, we are in the process, of switching to a new application platform that has been rather challenging to navigate. So we do have several applications that have not yet been responded to. We definitely will respond to them, and we are working on them daily. To answer your question specifically, Jose, notification will come via email. And so working on getting through the applications that have been submitted and not yet responded to. So thank you everyone for your patience if you've already submitted and not yet heard from me. I'm working on it, I promise. All right. Regarding the Intro to Financial Accounting course, I'm taking the equivalent course, perfect question, at Open University now and going to finish it in May 2019. Can I be waived from that course for CAAP? If yes, do I submit the proof that I'm taking the course now and submit the transcript in May when I finish it? So Min, yes. The intro class is the only class that we allow students to waive, and in order to be eligible to do so, you need to have taken an equivalent course, received a B or better within the last 2 years. So providing that you finish that up in May before the program starts in June, if you can document that by sending over your transcript showing that you received a B or better, absolutely happy to work with you to have that class waived. Great question. Thank you. Anything you want to add to that, Mike?
Yeah, I do. I teach that class, and I used to be a director of the CAAP program. And even though you've just taken it, I still recommend that you retake the class in our CAAP program. And there's let me tell you a few reasons, Min. You don't have to buy this, but let me just mention. So first of all, the course that we teach, the intro course that we teach in the program is more rigorous and covers a lot more material than you would in an extension program or in a normal undergraduate program, because we know that everybody in the program is going to continue on to their CPA. They're going to continue on intermediate, whereas the regular class that you take, as in the intro class, is for all business students. So ours is focused on the business, person who wants to become a CPA. We talk a lot about recruiting in that intro class. And what happens in that intro class is you start learning study habits for how to succeed in the CAAP program. I mean, not everybody is successful. And you want to hit the ground running in the next course, Intermediate 1, which is, one of the challenging courses that they have. So you learn good study habits, you form a study group, you really know accounting when you get into that next class, and it's a lot easier than if you skip it. So we do allow you to waive it, but my advice is you'll be more successful if you take it again. And we've had a lot of students who have retaken the class after taking it, let's say, in a master's program or an undergraduate program or at a community college. And I haven't yet heard one person who regrets it or who says that, I didn't need to take it.
Yes.
Across the board, people will say that that intro class was helpful.
Agreed. Not only is it, it can be a review or refresher if you've already had access to that knowledge, but it also provides an opportunity to really get into the groove of the CAAP program and get your schedule, your regimen, what's your daily schedule going to be, when are you going to study, and get all that fine-tuned before you move on to the more challenging classes. So as we hear time and again from those that may have been eligible to waive it, that they chose not to, and they're so glad that they took it anyway.
Yeah, we cover present value, we cover cash flows, we cover bonds, we cover equity transactions. Now, some of these may be covered normally, but we go probably a little more in depth in CAAP than in an intro CAAP class than you would find in your other intro class.
And if you've taken it, you'll be an expert in the class, so that's awesome. If you have prior access to knowledge, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, super. We are going to wrap it up. I do have a couple more questions I don't have time to get to because we are going to be over an hour here, and we want to send all of our wonderful viewers on their way to enjoy their evening. So if you have a question that we weren't able to address for you this evening, I encourage you to call me, email me, and join us on social media. We are on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. If we're not coming up on every device you own, then you haven't liked us. So make sure you do that. You should be seeing us everywhere. So like us on all your social media. Submit your application. If you have questions about the application process, reach out to me. We are going, we recorded this webinar, so we'll be sending the link to all of our viewers that joined us this evening. So you'll have an opportunity to listen to us all over again because there may have been some information that you missed that you want to hear again. So we'll send that to you. We're also going to send a survey out to you. This was our very first live webinar, so interested to hear from our viewers what you liked, what you didn't like, what went right, what went wrong, how can we improve? So our next webinar will be even better. So thank you to Mike for helping me this evening share the value of the CAAP program. Thank you, Erica, for joining us to share the student and alumni perspective and now recruiter perspective from the other side. We appreciate our alumni so much. They're so loyal to the program, and we love being able to incorporate them as much as possible to helping to share the message. So any final words, Mike, Erica, before we sign off this evening?
No, do the CAAP program. It'll change your life.
No, and if the students, if they want to contact me too, that's fine. You can put them in touch with me, Tony.
Absolutely, will do. All right, thank you to all of our viewers. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.